Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam, and we are talking about the worst thing to come to GAC since probably the Dodge Crons. I hate this Cron so much, and it's giving me some really good wins right now because I've started figuring out this strat, and I want to get it into your guys' hands just because I don't want you guys to hate life, because I've been kind of hating life not being able to get through this team. It's demoralizing, and if you don't have a JMK, you're basically screwed. And this is a non-JMK counter. And this counter does have some data already, but we have an extra twist to it to make it work every time, or at least be a higher win rate percentage, and we'll talk about the different factors going forward. But I don't want you guys to be like this guy who gave up on his entire GAC because he tried one battle with his JMK, and now he can't beat it because he lost it, and so he just gives up. I want you to enjoy GAC as much as CG's trying to prevent that. But we're gonna jump right in to this counter that I've been using, and it's Bane with extra steps, right? So first thing you do is you use bait with Han Solo. Yes, it has to be Han Solo. We'll talk about that in a second. And so unfortunately this will break up a CLS team. It's going to use Bane, and it's going to break up your Malgus team a little bit, but hey, I'll take that to take out this awful team, because otherwise I'm never getting through it. And then you may need Imperial Troopers at the end. We'll talk about that as well. So to basically kind of go over the overall strat, what you're looking at is you need someone with a bonus turn. Who else takes a bonus turn? Well, after you take a turn, Darkseid Ray will always take a bonus turn. And so we are literally here to try not to let anyone basically, get some momentum and get going. Because the moment that they get momentum and they start going, they just destroy you every single time. But by using using Han against Darkseid Ray, you let yourself bait out the cooldowns for Darkseid Ray, because Darkseid Ray, her last ability is the engine of this team that makes it so gross. And so it deals true damage to all enemies, and then the less enemies that you have, or less allies you have if you're going against it, you're going to get more damage dealt, because it's a flat amount of damage that is divided between how many enemies there are. So when you have something like Bane, the locked on shock stops all healing, which is going to absolutely screw you. And then on top of that, it's also going to deal a lot of damage because you're only going in with 2 people. And so you don't want this hitting you first thing. You want this to be pushed off as much as possible for as long as you can. And so we do this, where we go in with Han, and we just shoot whoever. You don't need the Zeta, you don't need a Relic Han for this, you just need a Han Solo, essentially. And you just go in, hit whoever you want. I like to hit Hux, but as you can see here, we missed it, but it's 340,000 damage that we just had on one character. So, like, you're not going to survive, a couple hits from 160,000 or 170,000 on your Bane and your Malak. It's going to kill you pretty dang fast, and that locked-on shock is going to prevent your healing, which you really need that healing, especially for Malak, to keep him alive a while, because his fear is so helpful for this. So highly suggest going in with the Han and baiting that one cooldown. No, you're not going to have a preload, because all of them remove turn meter whenever they kill an enemy. So they're no longer preloaded or anything, and so you're bada bing, bada boom, you're good. So bring in the Han, call it a day, and then at that point, you just bring in the SLKR and the Bane. SLKR and Bane and Malak, and at this point the Malak is going to use his fears to essentially keep them controlled. Darkseid Ray will lose turns, and the enemies will lose turns and give you some time. Now keep in mind, Darkseid Ray's ability will come off cooldown regardless once they ult, but because you went in and you baited out her cooldown with Han Solo, and then you're coming in with Bane, and Bane's going to hit his last ability that'll up their cooldowns by 2. You're essentially forcing them to not have their abilities until he ults, which makes it really, really good to give you time to be able to do things. And, you know, when you have Darkseid Ray here and she's gaining a lot of health and protection, you can end up getting absolutely wrecked by that fact. And so you need to be able to give the good suck from Malgus over to Darkseid Ray because it's one of the best ways to get her down. But yeah, so the other piece that you need to remember, because like at this point, this is just a Bane battle, you know, like it's just kind of like you focus on Darkseid Ray when you do the sucks, and otherwise you're just kind of doing, you know, a regular Bane battle and focusing on Darkseid Ray, and that's the story of this. The other piece that we need to talk about is that we're using the Hoda Cron. And that's the unfortunate part of this counter that you're going to have to probably give up is, you know, you're probably going to have to use the Hoda Cron. Now, if you have a very high defense Cron just in general, then you might be able to still pull this off. The fact that the Hoda Cron has 80% health and 150% defense goes a long way to keeping your guys alive for this counter. And so I've been using the Hoda Cron and having a lot of success, and I don't want to waste this counter, and so I don't know if I'm ever going to switch from the Hoda Cron, but you could certainly try this with a high defense Cron in general to make this work. Now, with this version that we're watching right here, SLKR has ramped up too much by the time we get to the point where we can try and kill him, that we end up not being able to kill him because we just can't hit anything because he's siphoned too much of our mastery. And so in this version where we went against it, we did have to send in the Imperial Troopers. If you can, after this, and you're like, oh, I need an Imperial Trooper it, take in teams like solo people until you can make sure his cooldown for his poke is gone, and then you just bring in the Imperial Troopers, and Imperial Troopers will literally walk circles around this man. I'm not even joking. He will literally just... It's not hard. He doesn't have any anti-turn meter gains without Hux, and so you can kind of just sit here and kill him. This works with basically any turn meter trained team, or even high relic geos would probably work here as well. But that's like relic 8 geos that we're talking about. Regardless, though, take in a turn meter train team, finish them off if that's the case. But we have right here another instance of us going in with the Bane and the Malak. Same thing, we baited it in with Han Solo, and so now their cooldowns are all jacked. This is a slightly different comp, of course. And same kind of thing, you know, we have the Malak there, and we just focus down the Ray. As you can see, Ray's getting fear, so, you know, that's giving us extra time to work on things. You always try to give the suck onto Ray, just to be able to get her close to dead, and then at that point, it's fairly easy to, you know, start killing people off, and, like, the moment that she, like, kills off, Bane or Malak is the moment that you kind of just wipe people. Now there's a chance of this not working, of course, with Bane taking the brunt and like getting killed off, but I found that with the Han Solo thing, I haven't had that problem. Without Han Solo, I've had that problem many a time, and I've had some major problems here, but when it comes to this version, I still have yet to lose with it. Hopefully that stays the same, but hey, I'm not going to peddle this as a 100% win rate, but it is a counter, and that's what matters to me. So this one, obviously, we're going to win with Bane. We didn't get enough, you know, things siphoned from us, so we have the opportunity to kill him off with Bane. But let me know in the comments if this works for you. Hopefully it helps you guys figure out a counter to this. This has been the best that I can find, and honestly, I'm curious if the Han Solo thing will end up causing more counters to be viable. We'll see. I don't know, but the Han Solo thing baiting out that initial ability is super nice, just because it makes it so you have like 3 turns before, you know, Rey actually uses her last ability, and the moment she uses her last ability is the moment the whole thing goes to crap. So let me know in the comments section how you end up using this. You can try this to get some other counters to work against SLKR and see if you can find something else, but hopefully this helps you guys at least get your Bane Malak to work every single time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps. Thank you for giving a damn, and I'll see you guys in the next video.